At 3 o'clock in the morning, an airport is never completely asleep. The passenger terminals may be quiet. The departure boards may show the first wave of flights still hours away. But behind the public buildings, cargo keeps moving. Trucks arrive. Shipments are checked. Freight is loaded. Workers follow routines that most travelers never see. At John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York, the cargo side of the airport had its own rhythm. On December 11, 1978, that rhythm was interrupted by a black van, a group of armed men, and a target that had been waiting in the wrong place at the right time. Inside Lufthansa's cargo building was a shipment of cash moving from Frankfurt toward Chase Manhattan Bank. The money was used currency, gathered in transit. It had not been scheduled to remain at the airport for the weekend. Then a transfer did not happen. The money stayed. Someone noticed. Before sunrise, the cargo terminal would be empty of its most valuable shipment. Within months, people associated with the robbery would be arrested, killed, or disappear. The money would never be recovered. And the robbery would become part of the mythology of New York organized crime, helped along by a movie that gave the public a memorable story while leaving the real case more complicated than the screen could show. Buried Ledger. Episode 17, The Cargo Room at JFK. This is the story of the 1978 Lufthansa heist, the airport workers and mob-connected criminals drawn into it, the investigation that found its first major clues almost immediately, and the deadly problem of dividing money that could not be spent quietly. The word heist makes the crime sound like a single event. It was several events connected by the same money. There was the intelligence that cash would be at the airport. There was the decision to take it. There was the armed raid. There was the getaway. There was the investigation. There were arrests. There were claims about killings and disappearances. There was the long legal question of who could be proved to have participated. The robbery lasted roughly an hour. The consequences lasted decades. For a global listener, JFK is an immediate setting. It is one of the world's best-known airports, a gateway to New York and a symbol of arrival. Millions of people have passed through its passenger terminals. But the Lufthansa robbery happened on the other side of the airport's public image, in a cargo building where the ordinary traveler had no reason to look. Airports are divided worlds. The passenger sees tickets, security lines, gates, luggage belts, and aircraft. Behind that visible world are warehouses, manifests, loading ramps, service roads, airline employees, freight schedules, and rooms whose contents may be worth more than the buildings around them. The public side depends on movement. The cargo side depends on timing. The criminals understood timing. The cash had come from Commerzbank in Frankfurt and was being moved toward Chase Manhattan Bank in New York. Contemporary reports differed on the first estimate of the amount. Later reporting settled around $5 million in cash and approximately $800,000 to nearly $1 million in jewelry and other valuables. The total is commonly described as about $5.8 million. The differences in early figures are part of the record. Crime scenes do not always produce an exact total immediately. Employees may be working from shipping records, police may be working from initial statements, and reporters may receive partial information while the investigation is still unfolding. The important fact is the concentration of value. Cash and jewelry had been placed in a high-security cargo area, and a temporary delay kept the shipment there longer than expected. The money was not supposed to become a weekend resident of the airport. But the transfer to Manhattan did not happen as planned. The reason became central to the investigation. A Lufthansa employee, Louis Werner, was later accused of helping create the delay and providing information about the cargo operation. At the time, police considered whether the robbery had inside assistance. The official record must be handled carefully here. The FBI later charged Vincent Acero with participating in the robbery, but a jury acquitted him in 2015. James Burke was widely described as a planner or organizer, but he was never convicted of the Lufthansa robbery itself. Louis Werner was the only person convicted in connection with the robbery, according to contemporary reporting. The story has many names attached to it. The legal record contains fewer proven outcomes. That difference is where the real case begins. In 1978, Kennedy Airport was not the polished symbol of global travel it would become in later decades. It was a massive working environment with its own informal networks. Airline cargo workers, truck drivers, police, former criminals, bookmakers, and mob-connected figures crossed paths around the airport. The nearby Roberts Lounge was described by Time as a place where cargo thieves, airline cargo handlers, and plainclothes police mingled, drank, and watched one another. That kind of place creates information before anyone calls it intelligence. You just heard the first part of this one. The rest of the episode is on Patreon right now. Subscribers get every new episode a full week before it lands anywhere else. Come finish the story at patreon.com/cw/storiesbymia.